A security guard shoots a man inside a Fells Point restaurant right as bars were closing. What we're learning about the violence.
Some of our leaders have become an impediment to our progress.
Z. Cohen not holding back his criticism for other city leaders as he announces his run for city council president. What he said today and a look back at his political history. Ravens star quarterback Lamar Jackson teasing an exclusive interview with himself. It's the first time we'll hear from him since December. What we're expecting from the upcoming video.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 News at 10.
Breaking news tonight, we're taking a live look from Marmon Avenue in Northwest Baltimore, where we're hearing reports of a shooting. You can see the police presence. It's not clear exactly what happened. Fox 45 News is reaching out to police for more information. So far, we haven't heard back. We'll continue to follow this story and bring you updates as they become available. Good evening. I'm Mackenzie Frost. Mayor Bubala has the night off. Another violent start to spring in Fells Point. A man is recovering after police say a security guard shot him early this morning. This is the third year in a row we've seen spring start with violence in Fells Point.
I don't want to live in Baltimore. I heard the crime up here is really bad.
Fox 45 Vincent Hill joins us live with a closer look at what happened last night. Vincent.
Yeah, Mackenzie, tonight this door says closed for technical difficulties. But last night inside this door, shots ring out, leaving residents stunned. One calling the violence here in Fells Point excessive.
South Broadway, 720. High in the sky, Fells Point, report of a shooting.
A trail of blood, remnants of an early morning shooting in the heart of Fells Point.
Confirmed shooting number 1 male, shot twice.
An argument between a security guard and patron inside this restaurant, seconds before shots ring out.
I'm trying to locate the security guard now.
The grim reality of an uptick in crime in the area, leaving many people alarmed.
I heard the crime up here is really bad.
And concerned.
I don't like to be around places where there's a lot of crime.
Some calling the crime in the area extreme. BPD data shows 3 months into the year, 8 aggravated assaults, 8 robberies, and 2 carjackings in Fells Point.
The crime is a little excessive, and it's unfortunate that, a lot of people are getting comfortable with all these firearms.
This latest shooting just feet away from a shooting in September that left 1 man dead and a woman injured.
And it's been a lot going on as far as violence in this area.
And it's not just shootings. This video capturing a large fight in the middle of the street, making many wonder just how safe Fells Point really is.
Your life is in actual danger.
Now, there is no word on if the man that was shot by the security guard inside this building was armed or if any charges are pending. The owner of the restaurant declining to speak to us about the incident. For now, we're live in Fells Point. Vincent Hill, Fox 45 News.
Thanks, Vincent. This is the latest example recently of a security guard shooting someone. In October, police say a private security guard shot a man outside of Royal Farms in Southwest Baltimore. That security guard is facing attempted murder charges. Another security guard faces murder charges after police say he shot a man who threw a brick at him in November. The security guard was arrested and charged in December. Now, a bill would require all security guards to be licensed by the state is working its way through the Maryland General Assembly. That bill passed the Senate, but the clock is ticking for lawmakers to pass other crime bills. Crossover Day is tomorrow. We'll take a closer look at those bills coming up in a few minutes. And Fells Point saw a spree of violence in June of 2021, including a shooting that left 3 people injured, rowdy crowds in the street, and people standing on police cars as officers stood to the side. Before that, in May 2021, the neighborhood saw a problem with dirt bike riders coming dangerously close to people who were standing on the sidewalks. And last year saw chaos as well as 30-year-old Marco Nunez was shot and killed after work at the Riptide Bar in April 2022. And last May, a party crowd left the community trashed. A fight broke out in a convenience store. Looters stole their food. Last night's shooting at Fells Point was not the only one this weekend. 3 people were shot Saturday morning. All 3 men are expected to be okay. And the number of murders and non-fatal shootings in Baltimore is lower than it was last year, but a closer look at the numbers show we're on par with years past. 36 people were killed in January 2022. It was the deadliest January ever. In January 2021, 27 people were killed, about the same as this year. Last month, 17 people were killed, one more than February 2022. Meanwhile, Baltimore police say this year they've arrested just 7 people for 8 of the 53 murders that have happened this year. While both city and state leaders are touting this year's crime numbers, one city activist says now is not the time to celebrate.
In the work that we're doing right now, both with the federal government and local government, to reduce violence in the state of Maryland, that it is working.
It's easy for the governor to go on CNN and talk crime and statistics to an audience who isn't intimately familiar with it, like the residents in Baltimore City. There's no reason that he or any other politician should be outside of Baltimore right now.
Last year, BPD's clearance rate fell to about 36%. That means you have more than a 60% chance of getting away with murder in the city. And we want to know what you think. Are elected leaders taking the crime crisis seriously enough? So far, 99% of voters say no. Head to foxbaltimore.com/vote to weigh in.
Tonight, I am proud to announce my candidacy to be the next Baltimore City Council president.
City Councilman Zeke Cohen making it official. He is seeking to unseat City Council President Nick Mosby. In his launch, Cohen is promising supporters to rebuild the city with everyone's help. And it comes as Cohen has a rocky recent history of not always pleasing the people who elected him. Councilman Zeke Cohen, joined by a room full of his supporters.
Let's get this man elected council president.
Making it clear he wants to lead the Baltimore City Council.
And the honest truth is that some of our leaders have become an impediment to our progress.
And he's not afraid to take aim at his opponent, City Council President Nick Mosby, right out of the gate.
Too much time is spent settling petty grievances, trying to pass bills that make no sense, and repeatedly violating the ethics code.
Cohen's hallmark legislation, the Healing City Act, requires trauma-informed care training for city employees. But the Baltimore's trauma response team took issue with what they said was Cohen's lack of support of their work in 2021.
We never received a dime from the city, not even acknowledged by the city, and we've been doing the work. So I feel disregarded and overlooked.
Cohen defending himself by saying he is focused on groups doing anti-violence work in the city.
We want to make sure any group that comes has the support that they need.
Cohen's efforts in his district, which includes Fells Point, have been met with some pushback. In 2021, gunfire, lawlessness spiking in the heart of the tourist area along the water, and a group of businesses threatening to withhold their taxes, frustrated with Cohen's representation inside City Hall.
This city is in crisis.
Cohen also facing questions during Baltimore's tense squeegee kid problems in the summer of 2022, while the city debated solutions to get the kids off the corners. Despite being illegal to squeegee, Cohen calling to pay the kids to leave.
If this is about young people whose basic needs are not being met, I think we should meet their basic needs.
Councilman Cohen suggesting a universal basic income to help pave the path out of poverty. Mayor Brennan Scott and his Squeegee Collaborative eventually announcing an earn and learn plan, paying the Squeegee Kid participants to stay off the corners if they learned skills for another job. Now looking to lead the council, Cohen not shying away from the uphill challenge of unseating an incumbent.
Not many people know the name Zeke Cohen. But they will. But everyone knows our opponent's name.
Mosby just days ago confirming his own plans to seek re-election, and according to the latest campaign finance reports, only has $14,500 in his campaign war chest. Now, candidates vying for Baltimore City's vote to lead the city council come 2024. Nick Mosby's office released a statement on Zeke Cohen's campaign today, saying the council president looks forward to the campaign season, where both candidates will focus on the issues impacting Baltimore, their visions for the city moving forward. There are a number of controversies surrounding the city council president. Last month, a judge determined he violated 2 ethics rules surrounding his failure to report donations to a legal defense fund set up in his name. In November, he spearheaded a bill to lower the amount of time city leaders have to serve to earn a pension after voters decided to place term limits on them. The mayor vetoed it, telling Fox 45 News he felt the bill broke public trust. The city council president saw pushback in December when he called for a resolution to honor his wife, then city state's attorney Marilyn Mosby. Fox 45 News will continue to follow the race for city council president. You can find all of our reporting on our website at foxbaltimore.com. It's important to note today's shooting in Fells Point happened in Zeke Cohen's district. Turning now to session 2023, crossover day is tomorrow. It's the deadline for bills to pass in one chamber and be sent to the other to really have a serious chance at becoming law. There are a few big crime bills that haven't passed yet, including one bill backed by City State's Attorney Ivan Bates, which would increase penalties for some gun crimes from 3 years to 5. Another could increase the reward for information leading to the arrest of a suspect in a crime to $50,000, and the Violent Firearms Offender Act, which would impose stricter penalties for repeat violent offenders. That's the same bill former Governor Larry Hogan introduced multiple times before, but it failed to pass both chambers. Political analyst John Deedy says he expects lawmakers to pass something to do with crime as soon as tomorrow.
I think there's going to be a sense of urgency to get some legislation passed to show that at least progress is being made. That's why I think we talked about the Bates bill before, the public hearing the day after, that kind of show there's a sense of urgency to amend it in.
Fox 45 News is helping you make your voice heard. If you want to reach out to your lawmakers to let them know what you'd like to see passed, scan that QR code on your screen. It will take you to our website where we've put together a list of email addresses and phone numbers for state senators and delegates, including Senate President Bill Ferguson and House Speaker Adrian Jones. Aside from his posts on social media, the general public really hasn't heard from Lamar Jackson since early December. Now, the former MVP is getting set to break his silence with an exclusive interview on his YouTube channel. Rocco DeSangro joins us with a look at what fans can expect. Rocco?
Yeah, Mackenzie. Well, there's one thing that Lamar did talk about in that teaser video on his Instagram page. That was about a minute and a half long. And in that video, Lamar talks about how he learned the West Coast offense when he joined the Ravens. At this point in time, we have no clue what else Lamar will talk about or how long the interview even is. What we do know is that the video will be dropping soon. That's what Jackson says. And it'll be on Lamar Jackson Entertainment, that YouTube page. That according to the Post. While Lamar has been active on social media, we have not heard from him in an interview setting since the week leading up to his injury. Maybe, just maybe, he'll talk about contract negotiations and free agency. We'll have to wait and see. Here are some key dates concerning Lamar. Since he's under the non-exclusive franchise tag, if he gets offered by another team in this process, the Ravens have 5 days to match that offer. That interview is going to be dropping soon. You see it right there, soon. The NFL draft is April 27th to the 29th and July 17th. That's the deadline to get a long-term deal done for tagged players. The new league year began on Wednesday, and it marked the first day Jackson could start to speak with other teams, but it's unclear whether or not he's done that. Coming up tonight, we break down more of the Ravens' free agency moves so far. Mackenzie.
All right, Rocco, thanks. A West Baltimore community gathering together after 3 children were killed in a fire. Right after the break, how they're showing their support for their family.
The potential of former U.S. president could be arrested this week, looming large over Washington. I'm Christine Frizzell with the latest fallout.
And we've got a chilly overnight on the way. Temperatures falling into the low to mid 20s, unseasonable cold, even some wind chills down into the teens, but at least some sunshine to wake up to tomorrow. I'll let you know if that's going to warm temperatures up any. My Weather Authority forecast.
A vigil in West Baltimore for 3 children who died in a fire yesterday. 2 adults are in critical condition. Tonight, a huge crowd gathered around family members to show their support and honor the young lives lost. The cause of the fire is still under investigation. Mayor Brandon Scott is promising the city will conduct a thorough investigation to find out what happened. This was the 2nd deadly fire within 2 days in Baltimore City. An update on the Northwest Baltimore shooting we told you about earlier in the newscast. Police say a 27-year-old man was hurt in that shooting. He is expected to be okay. Reaction pouring in tonight to the announcement former President Donald Trump made on social media this weekend, predicting he would be arrested on Tuesday. The district attorney's office in New York has not confirmed this, only saying it does not tolerate attempts to intimidate its office or threaten the law. National correspondent Christine Frizzell has the fallout.
Taking in a wrestling match in Tulsa, former President Trump is also preparing for another fight, this one in New York. Following a post, he'll be arrested Tuesday, calling on supporters to, quote, protest and take our nation back. At issue here, a $130,000 payment to adult film star Stormy Daniels and its alleged cover-up. The possible indictment provoking a chorus of support, including from potential opponents in the presidential primary campaign.
At a time when there's a crime wave in New York City, the fact that the Manhattan DA thinks that indicting President Trump is his top priority, I think, just tells you everything you need to know about the radical left in this country.
I think that's the stuff of the beginning of the end of the American experiment. If we allow our Justice Department to be politicized and people to literally use police power to persecute and literally prosecute their political opponents.
Some legal experts say the case, which was not pursued by the previous district attorney or the Department of Justice, sits on shaky legal ground.
What most people can objectively say about this potential indictment is that it's based on very little law and a lot of politics.
Politics that could help Donald Trump hammer home his message that the government is weaponized against him, with fundraising emails already sent out.
The prosecutor in New York has done more to help Donald Trump get elected president than any single person in America today.
The New York case is just one of several currently in the works, with former President Trump at the center. Others weigh his role in the January 6th attack at the U.S. Capitol, potential election interference in Georgia, and the handling of classified documents at his private residence in Florida.
No one is above the law, not even the former president of the United States.
A president who could be facing far more legal trouble in the weeks and months ahead. I'm Christine Frizzell reporting.
Taking a live look at the tidal basin in Washington, D.C., where the cherry blossoms are expected to reach peak bloom this week. The cold today shouldn't impact the flowers too much. Fortunately, the week ahead should be much warmer. Let's get right to Chief Meteorologist Jonathan Myers with what we can expect from the first week of spring.
Yeah, how about that? And Mackenzie, yes, we do have the first of spring arriving tomorrow at 5:24 p.m. and just in time. The cherry blossoms coming into full bloom. I believe they're in stage 5 of 6, so the kind of fluffy white petals beginning to come out in full bloom expected very soon. 33 degrees right now. It's clear skies. A little bit of a chill in the air on the Toyota Asian Harbor Skycam. Winds out of the west at 6 miles an hour, and our humidity at 38%. Even a little bit of a wind chill at 28. And we do expect a cold overnight tonight. So if you have planted anything early, make sure that it's all covered over and protected, because we're going for a freeze here. 33 in Baltimore now, 32 at Columbia, 32 at Cockeysville, 37 at Stevensville, and 30 out at Gaithersburg. Even some 20s right now up at Elkton. And today only made high temperatures at 44 degrees, so a full about 10 degrees below average, and it felt even colder with the wind. Wind chill still in the mid to upper 20s to near 30, and temperatures tonight already about 10 to 15 degrees colder than they were just 24 hours ago, so not too much to fall to get real cold. Now, on the HD radar, some lake effect snow showers still coming off of the eastern edge of Lake Ontario. Outside of that, some showers way down toward Jacksonville and Tampa. And then there's a weather maker that's out across the West Coast. In fact, a few more weather makers going to make it real inclement here on the West Coast, with more unneeded rain and snow at this point. We're just going to be clear and cold tonight and warming up for tomorrow, and actually a pretty tranquil pattern until some of that western energy does arrive here later on this week. So the future scan overnight tonight into early tomorrow morning. Again, it is cold. You'll have to bundle up and bundle the kids up for heading off to school. Full sunshine for tomorrow. It's going to be warmer by about 10 degrees as we make it into the low to mid 50s. So that'll be a welcome change, and there will be less wind. So for tonight, mostly clear skies, dropping down to about 23, unseasonably cold, mostly sunny for tomorrow, 53, light west wind, and your 7-day forecast up to 63 on Tuesday. Of course, again, spring begins tomorrow, and just in time, it's going to feel more springy for Tuesday. 59, some spot showers on Wednesday. Could see some on and off spritzes and light showers on Thursday. 71, better chance of rain comes later Friday and into Saturday. But look at those highs, upper 60s to mid 70s. So spring has sprung, and even the cool down late next weekend. We're at 59 with sun.
The fallout from the collapse of Silicon Valley Bank continues tonight, why some are now pointing fingers at the chair of the Federal Reserve. And the U.S. Marshal Service has come under investigation in recent years. Still ahead, why two former marshals put their careers on the line to become whistleblowers.
Cast up to 63 on Tuesday. Of course, again, spring begins tomorrow, and just in time, it's going to feel more springy for Tuesday. 59, some spot showers on Wednesday. Could see some on and off spritzes and light showers on Thursday. 71, better chance of rain comes later Friday and into Saturday, but look at those highs.
Democratic Senator Elizabeth Warren is calling out Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell, blaming him for the collapse of Silicon Valley Bank.
Chairman of the Fed stepped up and took a flamethrower to the regulations, saying, I'm doing this because Congress let me do it. And what happened was exactly what we should have predicted.
Warren has been pressing for stricter banking regulations since SVB's fall. Together with California Representative Katie Porter, Warren unveiling legislation last week to restore the regulations undone during the Trump administration. She is also calling for an independent investigation into the Federal Reserve and the banking regulatory system. The Federal Reserve last week promised to conduct its own review of SVB. Switzerland's largest bank, UBS, agreeing today to buy its struggling rival, Credit Suisse. The purchase is aimed at stopping the investor panic brought on by Silicon Valley Bank's failure. Credit Suisse lost about 25% of its shares this past week, despite a $54 billion emergency loan from the Swiss National Bank. As part of the deal, UBS will pay more than $3 billion for their rival, roughly 60% less compared to the bank's value on Friday. The Swiss National Bank also pledged a loan of more than $100 billion to support the takeover. Two former U.S. Marshals put their careers on the line to sound the alarm bell over problems in the Marshal Service. We hear their stories in tonight's Full Measure report. The U.S. Marshal Service is the oldest law enforcement body in the United States. Some marshals and arrests are legendary, but the service has come under investigation. Full Measure's Lisa Fletcher spoke with two former marshals about their concerns.
My whole entire life, I wanted to be in law enforcement, and the United States Marshal Service to me was the pinnacle of my career.
Dawn Mahoney joined the Marshal Service in 2002. Through the Army, she was recruited by a veteran marshal.
She wanted to go into what everybody wants to do when they're a U.S. Marshal. Everybody wants to work warrant and go after fugitives.
Bobby Lediger was a supervisor with the Fugitive Task Force, nearly 25 years in the U.S. Marshal Service. He never suspected that promoting the best person for the job would cost both of them their careers.
This is exactly the position that you wanted, but then everything goes south. Tell me what happened.
Before I went on to become the team leader of that team in the task force, the culture there was already there. He calls it high school with guns. I think it's Animal House with guns. Racism, you had just a lot of degradation of women, sexually harassed. And then Bobby had requested that I go speak with the supervisor that was there. And I sat down with him and explained to him, this culture has to stop.
But it didn't end there. It escalated. 4 days after her complaint, she and her team were serving a warrant at a fugitive's house.
We get inside the door, and then out of nowhere, one of the task force members violently pushed me from behind, walked by me, no, I'm sorry, hey, get out of my way.
They were sending you a message.
Clear message to shut up.
But neither Mahoney nor Lediger shut up. They spoke louder. Their stories became part of an investigation by the Senate Judiciary Committee, led by Senator Chuck Grassley.
Multiple whistleblowers from all across the Marshal services have also told me that Internal Affairs does whatever it can to charge employees with misconduct, regardless of what the evidence actually says.
The concerns raised in Grassley's investigation became a real-life hell for the two marshals.
I'm exposing the office where all this nonsense was happening, where he's exposing the agency heads that's allowing this to happen. And they didn't want any part of that. And that was a smear campaign against me and him and our reputations. In the end, did I win back a settlement? Okay. Was it a lot? No. But for me, it was all about just proving them that I was right. They're never going to say they're sorry.
Senator Grassley's investigation into the agency revealed misconduct among the highest levels of the Marshal Service, including inappropriate hiring practices, nepotism, ethics violations, and retaliation for whistleblowing. Robert Lediger was terminated about 2 months short of his retirement. He lost all of his benefits. He's appealing that termination and fighting for his pension. For Full Measure, I'm Lisa Fletcher.
You can watch Full Measure with Cheryl Atkinson Sundays on Fox 45 at 10 in the morning. For the third year in a row, the Terps are on to the Sweet 16. How one diamond shined bright in the team's second-round win. A giant blob of seaweed twice the width of the U.S. is heading straight for Florida. It's known as sargassum, a specific variety of seaweed that has long-formed large blooms in the Atlantic Ocean. But this year's bloom could be the largest ever, spanning over 5,000 miles and threatening to cover beaches with its rotten egg-like stench. Here's what the massive wall of algae looks like in Mexico, where it has already made landfall at a popular tourist destination. The blob is expected to push through the Caribbean and up into the Gulf of Mexico during the summer. And that's all for the news at 10. I'm Mackenzie Frost. Thank you for watching. Morgan Atson and Rocco DeSangro join us now with Sports Unlimited. Morgan and Rocco.
Thank you, Mackenzie. Come up tonight on Sports Unlimited. One set of Terps marches on to the Sweet 16. The other exits in the second round.
Yeah, Morgan, full recaps of the NCAA tournament as Brenda Frese takes her squad to yet another Sweet 16. And Kevin Willard, he holds his head high after a year one exit that involved dancing.
Speaking of Kevin Willard, he's crying foul about losing his best player for half the game last night against one-seed Alabama, why he thinks the Terps win with better juju.
It could very well be one of the biggest sports interviews since the decision. Soon, we'll hear from Lamar Jackson for the first time since early December.
And an update to the Ravens free agency tracker. One move made today, and we'll update you on who's coming, who's going 5 days into free agency. Sports Unlimited starts after this. Hey everyone, welcome to Sports Unlimited. He's Rocco DeSangro, Morgan Atson. A full slate of NFL free agency is ahead, but first, how's your brackets doing?
Mine's busted. It's bad right
Same.
now. On the men's side for you, probably busted as well. With only 2 1-seeds remaining, Maryland ousted late last night by one of those. That's Alabama. For the other Terps, Brenda Frese and company heading to the Sweet 16 once again. Let's check how they got there. 2-seed Maryland, 7-seed Arizona. Likely Diamond Miller's final game in College Park. Hot start for the Terps, jumping out to a 12-2 run. Guess who? Diamond Miller getting buckets early on. Under a minute to go in the first. Miller, this time facilitating. Brene Alexander dialed in from deep. Maryland led by 9 at the end of the quarter. But the Terps ran into some trouble in the second. Lauren Fields for 3. Ties the game at 29. Then it's Kate Reese. Wide open underneath the basket. Nobody covers her. Wildcats take the lead. Maryland trailed by 1 at the half. I don't know what Brenda Frese said in the locker room, but it worked. Maryland caught fire in the third. Abby Myers knocks down the jumper. Maryland back on top 34-33. Then it's Myers looking for her teammate. Shine bright like a diamond. Puts the Terps up 6. Maryland just feeding the hot hand. Cheyenne Sellers. Look at this dime. Feeds Miller inside. Beautiful pass. Backdoor cut. Maryland takes an 8-point lead. Rolls reversed here. Miller getting it to Sellers. 2 of her 15 points. Maryland outscored Arizona 29-9 in the third quarter, fourth quarter. Diamond Miller says, let's go home. Or in this case, Greenville, South Carolina. Behind a huge second half, Maryland is dancing on to the next round with the 77-64 victory.
You know, your All-American does what she's supposed to do. And I thought the third quarter, it was Miller time coming out, 9-0 to start the third. And like we've seen Diamond do so many times in this building, is just will her team.
I think we just play hard every day. I don't think we really care about who's scoring or not. It just happened to be today. She had 15 and I had 24, but we don't know how the game is going to turn out when we step on the court, and we just make game reads and stuff like that.
With the win, the Terps advanced to their third straight Sweet 16 and 11th. Under head coach Brenda Freese, 2-seed Maryland will face 3-seed Notre Dame Saturday in Greenville, South Carolina.
Just really, really special to be able to get back to a Sweet 16 this journey. I'm happy for everybody in our program, our staff, these players. So many things that were unknown last year, and I know this group is not satisfied just to be able to get to the Sweet 16. I mean, this started with their work last summer and the trust and the belief that you see how much we love each other, how much we want to continue to keep playing on.
On the men's side, the season came to an end less than 24 hours ago in the second round of the NCAA tournament at the hands of the overall #1, Alabama. Roll Tide basically getting a home game 2 in Birmingham. For Maryland, it was a spot no one predicted head coach Kevin Willard to take his team in less than a year's time on the job. But Willard and Maryland exceeded expectations. Late last night, the Terps had a chance to take down Alabama. Bama trailed for a large chunk of the game thanks to Maryland's defense, but the Terps ran ice-cold shooting, 35% from the field, under 13% from 3, just 1 for 8 long range. That is not going to cut down any nets in March. Despite that, Maryland will judge the season as a whole and the momentum the program has under Willard moving forward.
If you had told me I'd be playing in the second round, inheriting 5 guys on the roster, I would have told you you're nuts.
We had a great year, and just proud of this group overall. So just reflect on it. It was a lot of emotions at the time, but I was really just reflecting on the moment and the year that we've had.
Yeah, I mean, we're in the second round of the NCAA tournament in 353 days. It's a good first step. I mean, we have a lot more steps that we need to take as a program, and we will get there.
I mentioned cold shooting. What really got Maryland late last night against Alabama was missing their best player for half of the game. Forward Julian Reese, the Baltimore native, got